over your ears. So take it away, Dave and Mickey.
Thanks, Nighthawk. I'm Dave.
And I'm Mickey.
And together we are Shiny Side Out. Yay! Crowd Goes Wild on WZZR. The crowd goes wild. In the chat room, yes. Coming to you from Australia. The Upside Down. Well, it's actually, no, it's completely fictional. Yeah, we're in an underground base in Denver, underneath the airport.
You know
we're all crisis actors. I told my daughter we're crisis actors, and she goes, "What?" And like, I think every other word that I say, she looks at me sideways. And she gave me some side eye, and it's like, well, you know we don't exist. She goes, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right." Because she's aware of, she's 17. She knows about the internet. She's read about it and heard about it. One day she said to me, "You know we don't exist." And yeah, I know. So I thought that I'd throw it back to her, and it was really funny. So, because we're coming to you from Australia, the real Australia, not the fake one, on for Revolution Radio, on revolution.radio, that's the website name, that you'll find merch, a chat room, you'll find the rest in peace list of all the people who were either hosts or guests on the shows, or even just in the chat room, just chatters in the chat room, of everyone we've lost since the station started. And it's completely surprising. It's maybe a little humbling. It's certainly very sad that we've lost all of those people. And if there was a way to describe that, like, it's a cluster, sure, there's a cluster there. I don't think it's the station's problem. I think it's the topics people talk about. And I would hazard it a guess, but I won't guess, that there might be something there. Or look, maybe there's other reasons and I'm just overlooking it. I'll leave it at that. The chat room is home to fresh, unfiltered conversations, and we don't normally talk about all the things that we chat about in the chat room. The chat room's pretty good. It's private. It's not bad. You can talk to us while we're on air, which is just amazing. It's what modern technology can do for us these days. It doesn't have to be a YouTube live stream, although we are streaming this live to YouTube as well. And if you don't know what that channel is, it's Shiny Side Out RR for Revolution Radio. That's what that is. And you know what? Get yourself some merch. Donate to the station. It's super important. It's not free to run all the stuff that they run. All the licensing for all the products that they have that actually formulate as, the collective set of apps for the station, and the hosting and the streaming services, blah, 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 internet connections, name it, the website. So if you like anything, do try to donate. And if you don't, then share something about the station with someone else. And when they go, "Where do you find that at?" you can tell them, Revolution Radio. That's the way to do it. That's the way to spread the word of the station. I know we do dual branding on our merch. So with Shiny Side Out, you can go to our website, shinysideout.net.au, and there's a merch page, and you can buy some merch there, and that can help us out because we do this for free. And I just have to say, it's 13 years. We're in the 13th year, I believe. Just guess. It's like my relationship with my wife. It's when do we meet? I don't really remember. How about you? Nah, we got the year, maybe. Hopefully. Yeah, it was like that back then. This is show number 635.
Wow, 530 and 600.
I'm thinking about these are weekly shows, so yes, you do the math. You can catch us on air, online, and anywhere on your smart device, so grab an app to listen anywhere, or simply get a cup of Joe. It's a term for a coffee. Get a cup of coffee or a tea or your favourite beverage and sit in your favourite chair in your lounge room or your breakfast nook with a digital radio, a Grace tabletop digital radio for that matter. And you can listen to us there. You know what? Walter Rose was on Solaris' show. If you missed it, don't fret. You can jump in the archives and get it. Solaris always has great guests, great shows. She's a great interviewer, always pulls tons of information out and gives the guest basically 2 hours to talk. And I think that's just amazing. And we do the same thing. Sometimes we only get an hour with our guests. And it has been such a long time since we've had a guest on the show. And now that's my bad. I've been all over the place trying to and not booked anyone. All right, let's take it to there. So I want to say she had Walter Rose on, and that was pretty good. I caught the last maybe 45 minutes of the show, but that's okay. I'm going to jump in to the archives and download tonight's show for Solaris, and I might grab a couple more. It's really good. You can do that. It's free to access the archives. So if you missed it, don't panic. Right. Now, Meki, you'll know from whence I'm broadcasting when I say Darkinjung country. Meki, how about you?
I, of course, am in Daruk country.
Beautiful downtown float by Daruk country and mine too, Darkinjung, and we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast, and we pay our respects to elders past, present and future. And I don't just say that. It isn't just something we say every week. It's about listening to the stories, holding safe those stories, treasuring those stories so that we might pass them down. I don't have any Aboriginal heritage in my family. Kind of wish I did. But
I'm like 9/10 Aboriginal. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Do it.
Well, I walk around barefoot and I really connect to the life that would be if I was, but I'm not. And that just makes me a white guy, right? That's all it does. I'm not going to lie.
I'm beige. I'm just beige.
Beige.
Yeah.
I feel beige sometimes, but the point is that taking the time, the smell the roses, right? Taking the time to learn about the traditional custodians of the land of where you are right now. I don't care if you have to go back 1,000 years. Who were they? And what did they do? How did they live? That's kind of important. All of that came flooding back to me this week because we had the 6 X-class flares from the sun, all Earth-facing, that ended up colliding with us in 2 groups of 3 waves that joined together. If you've ever been to the beach, Mackie, when one wave catches the next one?
Oh,
Have you been there? Yeah. And it can double the height of the wave. Well, that occurred this week, and we got a global, very rare, global aurora. So not just borealis and australis, but very, very middle, like equatorial reach. So there were some communication problems. So some really weird things were occurring. That the magnetic flux of the Earth, the magnetic lines of the Earth were bent back because of the force of this this proton blast on the Earth, and all of those were swept back away from the sun's side, right? That wrap around the back of the Earth, and it weakens our resistance to any other things coming, right? That's what it does, because a normal unaffected magnetic field around the Earth is pretty good at keeping out all the bad stuff. Remember, everything above visible light is harmful to humans. That includes ultraviolet. That's the minimum of the beginning of harmful radioactive, like bad DNA, bad juju for our DNA. So high energy particles, if you want to call it that too. That's another way of putting it. So I learned something that I hadn't learnt before, Mickey. Everything above lead in the periodic table is radioactive.
Yeah, of course it is.
And everything above lead on the periodic table decays back to lead again.
Lead is inert as far as the isotopes are concerned.
Yeah.
It can absorb. It doesn't absorb. It just blocks the isotopes. Like it doesn't go through. Lead can't take
It's pretty
any
dense.
isotopes.
That's right.
Well, yeah, it doesn't take on anything, right? So lead is obviously the perfect shield because it doesn't let anything through. It's full. I'm full, says lead. No more.
That's
But
enough.
but
Done.
but radioactivity is all about releasing free isotopes, which is what actually eventually kills us. That's what radiation really is. It's not good for you.
It's shedding. That's right. That's right. So, I just wanted to say those things because the X-class flare group that's now leaving the Earth-facing side. It's rotating around, and hopefully it's gone. It was actually two coronal groups that joined together, and because of that, the magnetic fields were such that every eruption from that was an X-ray flare. And you can only imagine the Carrington event and how bad that was, because we saw disruptions to radio communications in certain frequencies. We saw a couple of online services like TikTok and Facebook and Twitter all having comms problems. They were very light. They weren't machine destroying stuff, but they were in the frequencies that disturbed certain CPUs in certain conditions and transmission of those comms. Right? They did recover, and they were short-lived, but you can imagine just how it sort of brought that home to me, Mackie, to how quickly everything of ours could disappear.
Oh, in an instant, in a blink of an eye. I mean, and this, as we all know and don't want to know, though, has happened. It has happened. It poof, gone. And this is what I keep saying as well. When something goes sideways, it goes sideways fast.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, it goes sideways so fast you don't even notice it. Right? That's if you're lucky. You just go
like
on.
the bullet. You don't hear the bullet that hits you. Blah blah blah.
That's
etc. Right? Yeah, we mentioned
exactly right.
Yeah,
I mean, because at that point it becomes. I mean, look, you look at the flooding events, the fire events that are happening around the world, right? And also, I guess, the man-made events that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really? Of course we do. But the question really becomes: do you really want to survive something like that, right? I mean, the answer, of course, is yes. But if it's a global event, Dave. If it's a global event, because nobody will come to help you. I mean,
That's
right now, if something goes wrong, even in Afghanistan, right, or in China, or it doesn't matter where, right? But if there's flooding or mudslides or whatever, fires, people will come and help you at some point. Now, though, if you have a global event where nobody picks up the phone anymore to help you,
Mm-hmm.
you have to ask yourself, oh, is this something I want to live through? Because your life is going to be miserable, right? I mean, generations to come will thank you that you stuck around, sure enough, but just saying.
I watched Shaun of the Dead today. It's Mother's Day here in Australia, by the way.
Yes,
today.
yes, it's a perfect Mother's Day movie, of course.
Well, she chose it.
Oh, okay. In that case,
And we had the kids watch it.
it's definitely the perfect Mother's Day movie.
Yeah. So we all... I made pancakes for breakfast, and while we were eating the pancakes, we watched Shaun of the Dead.
Me too.
Did you?
I made pancakes. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not Shrove Tuesday or anything, right?
No.
But they're very pertinent, and I've done most of the cooking today. I'm very pleased with myself. So for lunch we did hamburgers. You might have seen my Facebook for that. And tonight I've been cooking for 6 hours a brisket in the smoker.
Nice.
It's gonna be it's at least 2-3 pounds of brisket.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what are the others going to eat?
I'm not sure. I'll just fend for
okay.
themselves.
They probably take out from pizza, right? Oh no!
Here's $50. Go enjoy it.
Have the pizza. Well, I have my brisket. No, I want the large fork. I told you the large fork.
I have what you could. This is a brisket blade. It looks like a small samurai sword, and it is so sharp. It's crazy. I was gifted this for I think my 50th birthday or something like that, and I've actually dreamt of using it on an intruder or threatening them so they would leave. I've dreamt that many times, but it is such a dangerous device that we have it locked away in a special box.
Oh yeah.
Because we've cut ourselves before reaching into where we have it stored magnetically. We have a knife blade retainer magnetic thing on the wall in a certain part of our kitchen, and it's inside cupboards. So you open the cupboards, and we've got all the metal spoons and skewers and everything and knives and all. It's pretty cool. But there's so many times where you've just nicked yourself on it. You've gone, oh no, oh no. Band-Aid, like medic.
How many
so
fingers?
good.
5. All of them. Oh no. What?
But anyway, yeah. So what a day. Now I did stay up. I stayed up all night trying to, because I'm ruined, trying to watch the aurora, and it was just raining. And there was 2 layers of clouds. We had a ground layer of cloud that we couldn't see through. And then every once in a while there'd be like a band of rain that would come through, and I was like, oh please be a gap in the clouds. Not a star. Nothing.
Yeah.
Couldn't see anything.
Same. It's all overcast. All overcast.
Everyone else in the world, Maggie, was seeing beautiful aurora.
I hear you, but I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty wrecked. Not because I tried to stay up all night watching the thing. I just am. I feel completely drained. I even had the shakes. You know,
Goodness
you get the
me.
shakes when you haven't eaten for a while, like that kind of
Yeah.
shakes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I felt like. My blood sugar was really low, which is odd because I had pancakes for breakfast. For crying out loud.
What
With
do you put
honey.
on your pancakes?
I put honey on it, and I put something called it's a German sugar syrup. It's called Grafschafter Goldsaft. It's made from sugar beets. In Germany, we don't have sugar cane; we got sugar beets. And you cook those sugar beets.
So is it like a golden syrup style?
Only
thick?
completely black, but yes.
Yeah, that golden syrup is black as well.
Yeah, so it's like that. It's different flavor. It's got a lot more iron in it. Don't ask me why. It just does. And it's literally just, there's no additives. It's just this Grafschafter Goldsaft, which means
That's
golden
what it
juice.
is. Yeah.
That's what it is. And I had that, and I grew up with it, so I love it, right? So, but I don't know. We ate breakfast late, so probably 10:30ish because we all slept in, and then I just knocked out, man, on the couch, and I woke up shaking and clammy and no energy, and I was dizzy, dude. And I'm thinking this feels like really low blood sugar, and trust me, I'm not a low blood sugar guy. And still now I feel a bit woozy. I don't know what it is, my friend.
Well,
maybe it is that energy coming.
Well, we had
from
some
the sun.
X-ray bursts.
Well,
and everyone's exposed to it.
Well, yeah, right. That's the thing.
That's if you watch a channel called Suspicious Observers.
Yeah.
He does space weather.
Oh, okay.
And he'll show you within minutes of something occurring. He'll put a live broadcast out, and he'll show the side of the Earth that's being affected by it. With red, the red zone is bad, so try to stay indoors, don't go outside. And then lightens the zones up, and it's usually the lit side of the Earth because it's the sun, right? And because X-rays are immediate, and then the solar, the wave of energy from the sun, the ejection itself takes a couple of days to get to the Earth. And while it's hitting us, if there's another burst, then our defenses are down. it's like your shields are down to 10%. Is probably the best way of you, Star Trek person.
Yeah.
And that's when we got the second burst. And so it could be a net effect of that.
I wouldn't be, because it really hit me just like a hammer out of. I mean, like yesterday I didn't feel this way. It's just today.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
Well, do take care of yourself.
Oh yeah.
That's important.
And just like we all know, just just like Mr. Epstein, I am not going to commit suicide.
No, we all know that. I'm certainly not going to do the same thing. I've got no inkling at all in me to do that.
Yeah, Mr. Epstein. Having said all of that, in Australia, recently we had and still do, as Dave will attest to, we had a slew of knife attacks, or bladed attacks, or whatever you want to call it, right?
One last
Stabby
night.
attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, look, we've always had them. And this is where we need to sort fact from fiction. Knife attacks are not new in the world, and certainly not in Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that we are focusing more on it. The media is actually reporting on a whole bunch of them, right?
On all of it now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we've always had these attacks, and it is not new, and you know, it's not every single thing that happens is reported on, and that's what we keep saying to everybody as well. What is reported on is reported on with an agenda. People want you to know this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or they want you to form a certain opinion. But we're just talking about this, etc., etc. Now, of course, there's a new law here in New South Wales, same as in Queensland, where the police now carries electric wands or electronic. Well, they're electronic.
Well, they're the same as the ones you might find in customs when you're going through security gates or something like that. Yeah,
and they can detect metal blades on you. Now, of course, that's metal blades. So obviously, you know, they're also ceramic blades. So I went just before the show. I went on the website here. And I was just looking for ceramic knives. So I just see what's there.
Oh, you're on the list.
Oh, what a shock! This is funny. Now there's this one here. It's called Blade HQ. It's a fairly popular site for knives, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But they have they have 58 ceramic products, 58 blades, right? Ceramic blades. That's what their product range is. It's the largest range I could find on the net. 50 have been sold out.
Wow.
Not 50, but 50 of the I mean, they usually carry dozens or even hundreds of these things, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But 50 of the 58 are not available for purchase.
They're different types of ceramic blades. Yeah.
And the ones that are left
mercy.
are like kitchen blades, like kitchen knives, etc. Right? Like one is a tomato knife, ceramic tomato knife. One is a benchmark kitchen 5-piece set, and another kitchen 6-piece set. Bench. So clearly, the criminals see this metal detection.
This new protection law, and go, well, I think there might be a way around that.
Look, it's ceramic blades. I mean, obsidian, believe it or not, is really sharp if you can fashion. Yeah, if you can fashion a blade, because that's because the knife edge is actually monatomic.
That's
what does
right.
it mean? It means the cutting edge is one atom wide.
That's in the obsidian ones. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, one atom. That doesn't get much sharper than that.
I watch. There's a channel where there's a guy talking about all these different knives, and he uses them and shows them, and he's just made an obsidian blade the other day, and it's pretty good. To craft it took so long because of all the failures.
Oh yeah.
Because you're trying to chip a piece off to be able
glass.
to. Yeah.
It's and people forget, but it's actually glass, and glass is brittle. Now it's volcanic glass, right? Yeah. But it's still brittle, sharp as it comes.
As you want, yes.
You know, but you know, just not just not that. Well, it's not a great combat knife.
Oh no, it's particularly useless.
Yeah.
You want a knife that's going to last more than one time.
Yeah.
if you treated any knife you've got, you do have to ensure that you don't, cut into dirt or cut something, metal or equally hard.
There's a guy who sells them. It's called jjstonecraft.com, handmade obsidian knives. There's some that actually not too expensive either. But again, it's
good
it
luck,
really is
good
just
luck. You get on a list. You get
it's
a
just-
list.
oh.
I swear.
You're funny. Like there's any more lists I can be on.
Yeah,
No,
you'll
but look,
you'll get one of those loyalty cards
but-
with everything stamped.
But it's really just it's a decorative piece. It's not a knife that
use
has any practical use really.
No.
Not really. It's just something you display at home as a decorative piece because these are actually quite beautiful to look at. He made them with bone and wood and all that.
Sure.
But yeah, no, you don't. It's not something that you carry around. And no, what you can? I got an obsidian blade. Woo! What? Okay.
I'm sure, and people in jail create shivs
Oh yeah.
out of anything. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm sure that if they banned the sale of knives entirely, so you couldn't buy another knife, there'd be a lot of people with much better teeth because we'd have to use our teeth again.
That is true.
I watched a show, Mackie, about our teeth, and I was surprised to find, because if you don't give, say, a rabbit the right kind of food to chew through, then its teeth will continue to grow. It actually has to wear them down.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And because we don't use the scissor, the incisors, the scissor action of cutting stuff with our front teeth are becoming less used to the side chewing, and you can see someone who eats pre-chewed food. I mean, fast food, because you don't need incisors to eat any of that. Nothing. You'd be okay with meat and sausages and sausages maybe not so much, but steak, anything where you've got to bite into it, like an apple. You don't use your side chewing to bite through an apple skin. Those are really important skills, and they're good for your teeth. They're good for your incisors. And I watched a bunch of paleo shows, and they find some jawbone, and they immediately they announce, like, I can identify these teeth, these are from a such and such, and this was a grain eater, or it's a grass eater, or it's a meat eater, just from the action that is used between top and bottom teeth to chew through something. Just thinking about how important that is for good dental health, and how poor our food is. It's another thing. Today, last segue, because I've just segued through three things. The last one is I'm going to exit on the fast food, and I saw an ad today for McDonald's, and it was for the list of foods that you can buy at McDonald's to lose weight. I kid you not.
What?
Yeah, it was on news.com.au, which scares me that I was on there looking at things. But I try to, I've got to use lots of different inputs to be able to formulate an opinion on something, and I'm just like, what? Oh boy, really? They ran a story about... Oh, look, I'll tell you. So we bought less than a week's worth of food, Mackie, and it was $230 in the trolley.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
And we were being very selective. We bought everything on special or half price, and it was still that much money. And we had 10% off because my wife works for one of the brands. And I'm looking at the other people ahead of us, and just going, wow, that's a lot of money. And when we got to us, I was like flabbergasted. We didn't really have much. It was only one layer on the bottom of the large trolley. One layer.
It's a real thing.
What? Like, no wonder McDonald's are offering these cheap to eat family, at least it keeps you alive to some extent, food, right? Well, near food. Because cooking it yourself, the cost of energy, the carbon that you need to use to cook it yourself. Just think about it. Just think about all the carbon I produced today. Can't believe it. We're going to be held account to the amount of carbon that we all individually produce at some point in the future. All of this will mean that you'll have to go a day without power, without cooking something, just so that you can keep your social credit going. I can imagine. I'm totally shocked. I'm totally shocked. There should be an agency set up by the government, run by the government. I'm washing my mouth out with soap as I speak, because that's probably the worst thing you could ever do. But you don't want a private industry, because they'd take all the profit off the top and it would cost me even more. But all the primary producers should only be able to sell through an agency, a single agency that handles all of Australia's produce.
Like a co-op?
Better than a co-op. That if you're anybody who wants produce for your store, you have to buy it through them at the price that's dictated by the agency, and no more and no less. No agreements with co-ops or direct access to produce, right?
I think it'd be good. I think it'd be great. In fact,
that would keep the producers alive.
Oh, completely. And that's really, as we discussed, that's a huge problem right now, where farmers, they're now, rather than harvesting, they're forced to plow it under, because it's just the harvest would financially ruin them.
Yeah.
So I mean, think about that for a second.
And it's all over the world, Mickey.
Oh, completely. And you ask yourself, well, why hasn't someone done this? Why isn't this how we do things, right? I mean, it's a fair question, and I go, okay, look, the answer is very simple. The answer is very simple. Anybody who tries to do this, or has tried to do this, or tried to do things like this, when you have anyone questioning the way things are, duopolies, monopolies, control of the markets, control of products and resources, etc. And anybody who would seriously challenge the status quo is no longer here.
Oh, I'm not challenging anything.
No longer here.
That's what I'm doing. I didn't commit suicide.
No longer here, because that's what happens. And look,
yikes.
we focus on the big things, and this, you and I do the same thing. We focus on the free energy technologies. We focus on things that are where we go, oh wow, like almost science fiction. But the truth is this goes on in every aspect of life, right? Even in the most mundane circumstances, will you find a massive resistance to true competition, true change, true equality, if you will, where we actually pay the people that either dig stuff up or grow stuff or somehow harvest stuff that we all need fairly. Nobody wants to pay them fairly, right? Because the people that actually dig stuff up, unless you're in a first world country, your mining operation is in a first world country, they don't get paid anything. They get paid peanuts. And this is what one of the mining magnates here in Australia tried to do. This is really funny. What this person wanted to do a few years ago, when they wanted to bring in foreign workers, foreign miners, that they could have paid peanuts to. Now, they do all the work mining, as it were, right? They're digging up the coal or the iron or whatever it is, the gold, diamonds. And we pay them a pittance, but that's okay because they're coming from overseas, and what we pay them here, which is considered a pittance, of course, would be massively generous over in their own country. Of course, you can't do that. You can't import workers and pay them peanuts, and then here have the local workers go unemployed, as it were, right?
Mm-hmm.
If anybody who comes here needs to be paid according to Australian standards. And that's why this whole thing sort of fell flat. However, Dave,
Mm-hmm.
it appears that there's now some kind of loophole or something or
Of
other
course there is.
where especially IT workers come in for up to 6 months, I think it is, maybe even longer, and can work on, well, whatever low salaries they choose. The big boss. Yeah, there was this. I haven't followed it up, but there's a loophole. So it goes on in every domain of life. This what would you call it? Unwillingness is not strong enough. It is complete opposition to anything that would make anything else completely fair and equitable. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. Cost of living. Doesn't anybody ever wonder why we have a cost of living increase? No, I mean, really. I mean, you have to go back to first principles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is something happening? What is the trigger? I mean, we asked the question about cryptocurrency. What are we actually mining? What algorithms are we solving?
Yeah.
No one has been able to tell me. But the point here is this: why do we have a cost of living crisis? Inflation is too high. Okay, now inflation, again, going back to first principles, inflation usually is a function of the volume of money in the economy, so money supply. So if there's more money in the economy than goods and services, you have inflation. That's what happens. You have more money, which means more people can spend it, which means, because of a free market, supply and demand, prices go up. That's not the case here. Initially, probably there was too much money in because they just keep printing money. Just because it doesn't cost them anything. It's just make more. Give me more money. Just make more money. Loans. They create money out of nothing. This is really the problem, right?
But Captain, the machine's working as fast as it can to print the money.
Enough. But see, this is, and again, I know people think I'm crazy or maybe special, but this is actually how it works. Money is created out of thin air. You no longer have a standard against which money is measured in most, in fact, in all countries. Like, it used to be gold, right? It used to be gold.
That was the gold standard, yeah.
Yeah, so you had to have, like, for every dollar, because we're in Australia, for every dollar of currency that you make, print, mint, whatever, you had to have $1 of gold in reserve, because these are the riches of your country. This is your treasury. There it is, right? It's like in the olden days, the king has got a room full of gold and chests full of treasure, right? That doesn't exist anymore at all. There's no gold standard. No, Fort Knox got nothing in it. Okay.
Oh, that
because
was
it doesn't have
when
to.
Germany said, "Can we see the gold that we gave you?
No. Yeah, can we see our gold?
Our
Nope.
gold that you've got?"
But like,
And
no.
No. Why
No, you
not?
cannot.
Well, you can see some gold we have, but it's not your gold.
It's not your gold. We can show you the letters that show us that we have your gold. You can see the paperwork.
And then they said, "Can we have our gold back, please?"
Oh, you're
No.
funny. Why don't you just go home now before something happens to you? But that's how it is, right? So, and the funny thing is this: there's really there are still, and we're going to talk about this as well, but there are still measures in place that are supposedly controlling the money supply in this way, right? Now, two ways money comes into the economy. It's either issued by the government via usually a federal or central bank or central treasury kind of mechanism. And in most cases, those central money creation institutions are not part of the government.
That's
in
right.
most cases. They're
The
not,
Federal
right?
Reserve, yeah, for instance.
Yeah, it's anything but. In America, the Federal Reserve is not a federal institution at all, which is funny.
No, that's right.
So the government goes, hey, I need you to print or whatever this kind of money, and nobody really prints it anymore. They just move zeros on a computer.
Yeah.
And then the second way to create money is through loans. You go, what? That's not right. No, it actually is. It's actually true.
Did you see that one that I sent through to you about in Britain back in the 70s? So we're talking about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when people knew about it, right?
That was the first guy to really bring it out to the public.
Yeah. So a bank, when it gives you a loan, doesn't actually have that money. It's just what? First of all, there's no reserves of currency the bank needs to hold in Australia. That's number one, right? But don't you ever ask yourself where it comes from? Well, it comes from the depositors, right? Well, no, it doesn't, because the deposits in the banks today are not even a fraction of what is required.
That's right.
To cover all outstanding loans, right? So if you all went to the bank, all of us, in Australia, just Australia, it's only 26 million of us. But if we all went to the bank and said, I want my money, whatever, maybe you don't have any money in the bank, good for you, but maybe you do. And everybody went, there's not enough money in Australia to actually pay you out. And it's called a bank run. And what it would do, it would destroy the banking system completely, because it's actually it's kind of like gambling, Dave. It's kind of like gambling.
Uh-huh.
But it's low risk gambling, because all the laws are designed to protect the banks. The house never loses, right? So the banks keep lending out money, and that's what happens in 2008. Just lend the money, yeah. With the assumption that, like a Ponzi scheme, the people would just pay the money back, like all the loans. Pay it back, so it's okay. So as long as it all works in that way, it's fine. When it stops working that way, it's all over, baby. And that's what happened. We're going to talk about it in the second hour, but and that's really. Yeah.
So, in England, this guy declares that banks don't actually issue a loan to you. All you've really done is signed the deeds of your house over to the bank, and you pay the bank to eventually give it back to you.
That's right.
They're not out 1 cent. You've given them the house. You've signed it across to them. You don't own it. They own it until you've paid every last cent that they demand from you. That's what it is. And you pay more money than the value of the house. And therefore, they've just created money out of thin air.
And that's the second part of the magic, interest rates. Because you have to ask yourself this. So there's a certain amount of money, and Dave is 100% correct. There's a certain amount of money in the economy. You bought your house, that's great. You've gotten a $100,000 loan from the bank, for argument's sake, right?
When was that?
I'm going to buy an outhouse in Dubbo. That's what I'm going to buy. And now, so you owe the bank. So you really owe the bank $100,000. I mean, the $100,000 didn't really exist before this. They created that. Here it is. But then the stroke of genius is that you're paying them interest on the non-existing money as well. So you've got $100,000, which never really existed, and no one has ever seen these $100,000, right?
No,
and right. Then you don't pay them back $100,000, which would be, the fair thing, I guess. I mean,
pay them back $200,000 back.
Or then some, because of compound interest, right?
That's
and
right.
It's also not only that; it's also adjusted for inflation, because we can't have the banks miss out on anything, right? So
they'll be fine.
It's such a convoluted shell game that most people just they don't understand. And the truth is this: you really have to. It's not hard to understand. It really isn't. But when you do understand it, you check yourself and you go, "That can't be right. That's not how it works." And I'm here to tell you that's exactly how it works. So once you've actually studied it and looked at how the system functions, and you realize how it functions, you do a double take and say, nah, that can't be right. I must be wrong. Except you're not wrong. So in that scenario, the people that control the country will never be out of power. This is what the first Rothschild, Amschel, I think his name is Amschel, Meyer. Just the family name is not Rothschild. Okay, and then the family name was Meyer. They just had a shop with a little red shield in a German town. And then took them Rothschild, just means red shield in German. And he said, I don't care who is king or queen, because he was living in the king and queen times, right? I don't care who holds the power in the country, as long as I control its money supply. Absolutely correct. 100,000% correct. Nothing else matters. Ever since we've gotten into this whole currency and money, portable money, etc., trying to phrase effort into tokens, which is what money is, frozen effort, if you will, right? Arbitrary, and then we haggle for it too, right? Because there's different currencies, and not all currencies denote the same value. So it's really funny. All of a sudden, work or effort becomes a tradable commodity, right? And some countries like China, the tradable commodity is very, very cheap. You can get a lot of effort for very little money in countries like China, for example, right? It's a person working a full day doing the same kind of job that some person in another country does. Just the value of that effort is a lot lower, right? And it opens the door to all kinds of, it opens the door to the world we live in, really. That's where we are. We are living in the world, and we are so engaged in it. We're so stuck in it that we can't. And see, and this debt thing really has people scared, and in fact, so badly scared that some of them took their life when the government with Robodebt came and said, you owe us money. And the pressure on their life was such. And this is like an illusion, because this debt, this money, it doesn't exist in the first place. It doesn't. It's just it's a convention, right? But this convention has now overtaken our lives to such an extent that people will commit suicide over it. If you think about that for a second, that's astounding, the power that money holds. And we give into it, because we accept it. Well, I get paid for my work in dollars or whatever, euros. I give away 7.5 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And then you accept it. And then the shop, who's got goods and services, and they will take that money and they'll give you stuff for it, right? But let's go back to inflation, because first principles, money supply. Volume of money supply is the issue. But it's not that there is just more money in the economy, right? Prices are going up as an expectation. There's an expectation that prices go up, Dave.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? I go past the toll in Sydney a lot, and every couple of months there's, we're increasing the toll. Based on what? Right? It's just great and profiteering, and prices keep going up. On the petrol pump, that's probably the best example I can think of, because it's the most obvious. If something happens in the world like a crisis, the price of oil goes up, and immediately that day the price of petrol goes up at your pump. Now, and we've said this before many, many times, the petrol you're pumping was refined 3 to 6 months ago. It should have absolutely no impact on the petrol that you're pumping for the next couple of months. But it does immediately, for no good reason, other than I can make more money on that petrol, which I paid a certain price for. But right? That's what you want. That's capitalism, there, my friend.
Money.
And then prices don't really go down that much once they go up.
No.
And other thing. In Australia, okay, the truth is the real estate market is pushing prices, and generally the economy up, because houses are a lot more expensive than they used to be for a number of reasons. And one of the biggest reasons, 2 reasons really, but the biggest reason, in my opinion, for pushing house prices up is foreign investment. We allow foreigners to own property in Australia. No traps, no ifs, no buts. If you got money, you can buy whatever you like. Now, that of course comes to the second point, which is supply. And yes, there's more population in Australia, absolutely, and the supply is an issue. But I believe it has become a critical issue because we allow so much foreign investment. And the funny thing is this: these people don't necessarily live here, and they might not even have anyone living in the property they buy. They might just let it sit there empty, and they can. There's no law against that. Okay. In fact, there are vacant lots, there are vacant apartment buildings. There's a whole bunch of stuff and houses, even, right, in fairly affluent areas that are empty. No one living in those houses or apartments. And entire lots, and this was in a prime area in North Sydney, or Crow's Nest, where I don't know how big it was. It was probably the size of 2 blocks. Was vacant for 20 years. 20 years.
Yeah.
And you could have built enough flats there. They're building something there now, but you could have built enough flats to house easily 200 families, right? But no, it's much more cost effective to sit on the property, record a loss on the property investment, rather than develop it. And then, eventually you can sell it and make a killing, sure enough, right? But this is where we are, right? This is the truth. And there is no good reason for things to go up, because we don't buy more stuff, everybody. We don't buy more stuff. We just pay more stuff, like Dave said, to his point. His trolley wasn't even full.
No, not even.
And he went for the bargains, and like I mean I do the same thing these days. Back in the day, I would just throw things in the trolley. I need bread, I throw bread in the trolley. I need honey, I throw honey in the trolley. Whatever.
I would never even look at the price. I'd buy the thing that I liked the most.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, I look at stuff though, and I go, okay, and I've become a smarter shopper, I think. But still, you look at it and you go, well, how is it then that we're in the situation that we're in? Well, this is because of the way we have handled the crisis in the first place. So yes, there was an issue and inflation was up, okay, but why? Well, various reasons, we discussed them just now. But then we made it worse by putting up interest rates, right? Interest rates are designed for 2 things. One, interest rates are meant to lower the volume of money in the economy, right, and increase the volume of money in savings. Because if people have the theories, if you get high interest rates in the bank, then you put your money in the bank, you get interest. That makes sense. You invest your money. Of course, that's complete nonsense, because the banks never really passed this on to the people having a deposit. I mean, the money I get, I have a bank account because that's how my company pays me. But the interest I get in that thing is I don't even. I mean, it's not even a thing.
No, it isn't. You know that they recover that interest back in fees.
Oh, and then some, 100%.
That's right.
100%. But so people are not putting more money in the bank. Well, the thing is this, they can't. Why can't they? Because the same stuff they used to buy for $1 now costs $5. There's no extra saving they can put away.
There's no money, no. That's right.
So things are getting more expensive. People are not buying more. They're just buying the same, but it costs more. And it's a spiral now where if the interest rates go up even further, even if they stay where they are, but even if they go up further, then things are becoming more expensive, because people that have loans or credit card debt or whatever it might be, and all businesses have business loans, all of them, right? There's not a business in the world that doesn't have a business
and
loan.
they have to charge more to pay those off if the rates go up. That's right.
Ha! Bingo.
We've only got 1 minute left, and I just wanted to cover this part. All of the major retailers in Australia have declared losses, as in drops in retail purchasing, so severe that they're laying people off.
Oh yeah.
And that is really important. Now, big tech is laying people off. Retail, laying people off. Manufacturing, laying people off. With a dwindling, say fiat currency base of effort storage, because that's all it is, where that's dropping now. In Australia we'd say like the arse is falling out of it, right? That's what's happening, and that's only going to make it worse. That's what we can end the show on. Stay tuned. We will be right back after the very short break with our second hour, where we'll be talking about the parasitic system, fiat currency and fractional reserve lending, part 3. And if you're watching this on YouTube, do comment, like, subscribe and share. And also there's a new stream for the second hour. See you shortly.
Listen,